Quantum Conundrum. So stick around for that in a few minutes. We have a $60 donation from Rick170. You guys are absolutely fantastic. I admire your dedication. Keep up the good work. Greetings from Frankfurt, Germany. We have a $50 donation from Sambrea. Hi all, greetings from sunny Florida. I know it's not as exciting as some places you hear from, but this is one of my favorite events of the year. The other being AGDQ, and I've been watching for plenty of years. Best wishes for great runs the rest of the week, and good luck to everyone. We have a $50 donation from Moose Waffle. Thanks to all the players for putting on another awesome show. And for those of you who may be interested in our bid war for the Castlevania Ronda of Blood file name, we have Baguette in first place with $722, and in second place is Iwata with $437.50.
Are you comfortable? This doesn't look very comfortable.
Like, I wouldn't be doing it if I wasn't. I'll sit up straight.
You took my
I
mouse.
understand you're not.
Thank you so much.
Whose hand was that? Go fast. This shirt. It's like not the best sitting down shirt. It's a great standing up shirt.
What?
It's not very universal.
Yeah, there's in-game audio.
What's going on?
Yeah.
Do you not like your own mouse?
Wait, it's not the same mouse.
Might be my keyboard. Let's try this. Maybe it'll like that.
you think camera can catch this? I'm proud of you.
Do you know anything about this game?
Yeah. I have record. He hit his head there because he's really good.
Good to go? All right. Thanks. All right. All right, so I ran this game at AGDQ 2014. I did an any % run then, and you guys donated for all collectibles. So the route's going to change slightly. It's about an additional 3 minutes. Some pretty cool tricks, and you get to see another part of the game you typically don't. So
once upon a time.
I'm going to skip this opening cutscene and then have fun from there.
Well, let's see here.
All right, so we're just kind of stuck in the beginning. In the first 3 minutes of the game or so, this is pretty standard intro stuff. It's teaching you to play the game, sort of. After that, it's pretty much non-stop action for the next 40 minutes or so. If you did watch the run at AGDQ 2014, you'll notice we had to walk through a ton of hallways, which actually, at the last AGDQ 2015, I was practicing this game to get back my record, and I found out that you can basically skip every hallway in this game by exiting and reloading, so we cut out about 5 minutes of walking down hallways, so it's pretty fun. So we're going to get up here on this beam, and the game wants us to jump to check for a trigger. So we get up here, so we're going to spam jump a bunch, and then jump down after that.
Wait, what just happened? I'm not entirely sure where I am right now. The security uplink on my watch still seems to work, so I can see you and... Hello? You can hear me, right? Jump around a bit if you can.
Right.
Nice jump.
So if you get the dialogue, that means you got the trigger, so now we can just kind of fool around with these books for a while. There's not a whole lot to do other than that, so...
There. Much better.
It's going to pick up in speed pretty soon.
Yeah, you can also kind of move items around. One thing that's pretty easy to explain right off the bat that comes in handy is all the items in a room are bound to that room. So if it unloads and you try to sneak an item through, which is pretty easy to do, as soon as the room unloads, the item does as well, for the most part. So this book, for example, is bound to this room. If I try to take it through the door and throw it, it's going to unload. So right there, just unload it. So now we're going to go into the main hall, which is the hub of the game. There's 3 wings and then a 4th additional area we can go to from here. But for now, it's going to grab the glove, and it's very Portal-esque. You grab a device and it allows you to do stuff that you shouldn't probably do. There's a taco if you want that.
Take the glove in the box with you. I wish you could see my facial expression right
So I just spam use there to get it as quickly as possible. You'll also see me jump a lot like this. It's not really faster. Over the course of the run, I think jumping saves like 3 seconds if you do it continuously. I just do it because I don't like walking straight lines.
Some floating books?
Yeah, maybe.
Physics?
No. So if you put these books just right and jump on them, they'll just float in midair for some reason. All right, so we're going to go into the blue wing, the first of the 3 wings. It's probably my favorite. It has a really cool selection of rooms. And we also get different dimensions in the game, which you'll see, I think next room is when we get the first one. For now, we're just going to walk, do some jumping,
I've been able to develop a power source that will allow
do some
someone to
360s.
shift dimension. The glove controls the power source, which allows you to travel to whichever dimension.
We're going to actually activate a trigger by looking through the wall in just this general area.
Just be patient.
And I want Desmond to get activated, so usually he takes 10 seconds to activate. It's a pretty good skip.
Or a drinking bird.
So as I mentioned, going back to the main menu and just continuing, we have a key bound to disconnect, so we can just exit the game very, very quickly. And then you just hit enter a bunch to get back into the game. And that skips about 5 minutes throughout the entire thing, so it's really nice. Alright, so this is Fluffy Dimension. It's going to make everything bright, fluffy, and broken.
Which in this case is Fluffy Dimension. In addition to Fluffy being embarrassingly adorable, it's also
There's
rather
a little quick jump you're not supposed to be able to stand on. There's a lot of ledges and areas of the game you're not supposed to jump to that luckily have enough collision so you can get where you're not supposed to, I think. So some fast movement there to solve the puzzle in a different way than intended. Still intended strats at the moment, though.
you should throw that IDS battery into the
So these batteries grant us access to the different dimensions, and if you see an icon pop up on the screen, that means I can actually activate it. A lot of levels are on timers, and I don't have any control of them, but that's typically later on.
That's Dolly. Dynamic object linear ligation.
We're just waiting for this the glass to break and then start doing some weird stuff.
So I decided to add functionality to her to keep everything consistent.
All right, there we go. There's actually a few out-of-bounds routes you can take in this level. They're all very finicky and tricky to get, so I'm just going to do our regular method. I'm going to throw the table over so we can keep it, and we're going to take this chair we just got with us through the door.
Unfortunately, the breaking of this glass.
Let's place that there. We're all good.
Don't take that.
A lot of puzzles I solve and then walk away from, so you don't actually see them getting solved. So if it looks like I'm doing something for no apparent reason, I'm probably just solving a puzzle. Also nice though.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the game is providing you boxes to use, but like these saves, but you can just use the furniture, and it works pretty much the same way.
Alright, so this is the first collectible we're going to get in this room. Typically you would just jump out and finish the level right away, but we're going to save our little friend. So I'm just going to use one safe there to weigh down both. Alright, so this is a noise maker. There's 20 of those throughout the game, and then there's 4 blueprint maps, which unlock a different area. Those are the collectibles we're going to get. So I just did a trick there known as fluffy flying, or object hovering, or prop flying, or any of those. Essentially, the game was built to stop you from doing exactly what we're doing, but they only stopped it if you use purely in fluffy mode. So if you're in fluffy and you jump off an item, it flies away from you. So before we jump off of it, we switch to normal dimension, jump, switch to fluffy, grab it, and then just repeat the cycle over and over. It allows us to get where we're not supposed to, and keep items as well. And I want to keep this safe. I would like to keep this safe. There we go. Keeping items when you're not supposed to and having object hovering essentially breaks most of the maps. Keeping it one more time, and then we're going to fly across the gap at the end here. That was kind of slow. So when people first start learning this game, and quite a few have picked it up in the past couple months, object hovering is definitely the hardest part about it, as Momo can attest to.
Definitely.
And usually that's just going straight up in the beginning. Trying to go in any sort of direction and control it and go fast at the same time is very, very, very tricky. And most IL levels come down to how fast can you move with object hovering. So this is heavy dimension. It's the exact opposite of fluffy. Makes everything heavier and red. It's not as broken, but it can block lasers that will kill you or get rid of objects, so it's pretty handy. I think we use it like 3 or 4 times to break the game. But for the most part, our breaks are going to come from slow-mo and fluffy. We get slow-mo later on.
Red battery will provide enough energy to enable the IDS device
And I missed the throw. Okay.
heavy dimension rifts in this area.
So the different items in the game, there's small boxes like this. There's also books, which count as small items. And then there's big ones like safes, chairs, couches, tables, and all that. Small items you can't object hover with, which makes it really annoying for certain levels. But we have some tricks for those. Generally, you want a safe if you're going to object hover at all. So these safes are actually really random at how they fall. I hope I can get up.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I got really good luck there. Sometimes those safes will actually just fall over completely, and it's a pretty big time loss. So we just block lasers. Keep going. This is one of the very few places where we actually abuse heavy dimension in any sort of way. It's a pretty cool trick. Basically, you just block the laser and walk underneath it. There we go. At one point in time, I actually attempted to do this game blindfolded, which did not turn out well, but I got that trick first try, which was pretty cool.
What?
So in the any percent route, we would go out of bounds here by object hovering up, but there's a collectible that we have to get in the next section of the map, so one more. Ceilings are really annoying when you try to object hover because if you hit them, you basically have to reset the whole thing. So, pick that. Kind of make the cycle. This is also a really cool trick that we have with the chair. Typically you use safes to stack up here and beat the puzzle, but we can just sneak past.
I could have done it better myself. Not bad, though.
This is going into the sort of harder section of the Blue Wing, getting near the end. Typically there's about 13 or 14 levels in each wing. The first half is really introducing the mechanics, and then the second half is just crazy puzzles. So we have to get another collectible up here.
I was wondering where I put that. Careful.
And then just object hover over. Okay. Sometimes safes don't want you to get on top of them. So what I just did there is I jumped off the safe when it was moving at a high speed, and that allows you to keep the momentum. We really abuse that fact later on, especially if you have slow-mo. You can do a super momentum preservation or something.
Aren't you supposed to whistle while you work and grin and whatnot?
Actually, need this too. So we're going to use this to break another thing in this game. All the scales can pretty much be broken, so you can just manipulate them to stay active, and you don't need to use multiple items to weigh them down. But each door is kind of programmed in a different way, so you have to break it in a different way, even if the trick's the same. Hope you guys play sports, so we're going to do some basketball.
Will all require
Nice.
Nice.
Wait.
Wait.
No.
Oh.
This one's actually really tough to get. Okay, there we go.
You would say that the one that makes it?
So before we put this one away, we actually have to get another collectible. Way up here. Okay.
So it seems like the blueprint set. Well, check back in the research and development lab when
Kobe.
you have a spare moment.
There we go.
Well played.
That's some good basketball. Sports games done cool.
All right, so this next room is kind of redemption for me, hopefully. At AGDQ, I did not get this trick at all. I had to do the room normally. But hopefully that's not the case here.
No pressure.
So this is our first instance of out of bounds in all collectibles. I think it's the only one at this point in time. Basically, we're going to object hover up high enough into the air that the game unloads itself, and then we're going to fall back in at a specific point, which is going to reload the map, but we're going to be on the other side of this wall. It's very, very precise and very annoying to do. Okay, let's give it another go. So I actually want this in a particular way, if I can get it. There we go. Much better, okay. There we go.
Nice.
Oh, wow. That was really good.
Redemption.
Yeah, that trick is stupidly hard.
Fantastic, you made it. If you can get the
If there was one trick I could take out of this game, it'd be that, for sure.
It was so safe where that was.
C. Benny donated $25. Hey, Blood Thunder, missing half of SGDQ because of work. At least I'm able to watch Quantum Conundrum. Shoutouts to everyone. Certainly one of the best GDQs so far.
Shout out to C. Benny.
What a bro.
It's pretty cute. So you just have to activate this by rotating it. We're going to jump off. So yeah, we can't skip these cutscenes, unfortunately. If we use the disconnect, we just have to replay the level again. We don't actually go back to the main menu. Next checkpoint isn't until we get into the yellow wing itself.
Why don't you take a look at those blueprints?
So the game forces us to look at the level select, which we don't really care about. Instead, we're going to head over here, which is the research and development area.
Try not to break too much.
By collecting the two blueprints we have so far, Fluffy and Heavy, we can open up this area. And luckily we have Fluffy, which is extremely broken, and we can go get the collectible in this area as well. There we go. I used to do a death warp there, which takes you back to the beginning of the research and development area, but it's faster to just go ahead and quit out and reload. There's an extra loading section if you do the death warp.
As if the power is starting to come back online.
All right, time for Yellow Wing, which is very, very tricky.
Head towards the yellow wing.
It has a lot of really cool tricks, but they're also really difficult and precise, so hopefully it goes all right.
In case you were wondering about the pneumatic transportation
So Yellow Wing introduces us to the third dimension, which is slow-mo.
the IDS batteries.
It's pretty well broken, not as much as Fluffy, but there's a lot of cool things you can do with it, as we'll see. So this part just wants to introduce the mechanic of slow-mo, and it's a lot of platforming. But
If only you could see the look on
luckily
your
we
face
have
right
some
now.
tricks to deal with that. This area is also on a timer, as I mentioned, because I don't have the icon on screen. I can't control it.
Time in this like a pan-dimensional bunny rabbit, hopping across a landscape of quantum fields. Poetry. I'm not entirely sure what Desmond is.
So I don't want to jump too soon, or otherwise I won't make it and I'll die. Okay, I can just make that jump. So yeah, this is actually another out of bounds I forgot about, but you just come up here and it unloads, up on top of the map.
It's the other only out of bounds in this game.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot that are actually useful. There's a lot of areas where you can go out of bounds, it's just so slow, since most of the maps are pretty fast. So we're just going to get behind the door, which is going to activate the trigger.
It's not that memorable. It's not like it skips the whole puzzle or anything.
Have I mentioned that
It's like the newest trick that we introduced. And it's actually the reason we found hallway skip, so it's pretty cool. This is another one I don't have control of the dimensions, which is really annoying because it's really slow and boring. But there is a collectible here, so. At one point in time, all the collectibles had names. This is the only one I still remember, and that's Alfred. So say hello to Alfred.
Hi, Alfred.
Hey.
Hi.
And since he's right there, you get him every run, even if you do any %. We can't leave Alfred behind.
Never leave a bro behind.
Never.
It's like
Yeah, so
7 bros.
Just 7?
7.
Yeah, we just pretty much have to wait here. There's not much I can do. There is a really cool out of bounds working on this section. There's just 2 triggers that you can't hit to finish the level, unfortunately. Zamanzo, which is the other serious runner of this game at the moment, myself and him. He's done a ton of work, so shout outs to Zamanzo. He's pretty close to getting a record. I wouldn't be surprised if he's grinded out runs during my time here to get it. And just one more little section here.
You should be able to fit through. Don't forget to breathe. It's an important aspect of life.
So a lot of the waiting's out of the way until we get the Red Wing. There's a lot of long levels at the end of Red Wing as well. But for now, we go through a bunch of really quick ones. So we're going to view slow-mo's natural physics of just delaying lasers to get past it. You can use one safe here to get past these lasers. You need one to keep and one to block it. It's very, very difficult to line up and time it right to just use one. So hopefully it gets on there. All right. A lot of times the throws just fall off or they go too far. This is another really very short level. Little jump. You're
And decided to play a game of
past the puzzle.
myself, utilizing the slow motion dimension.
A lot of the ILs for these levels are pretty insane when you go and look at them.
Number 21,000.
I think the shortest one's like 3 seconds or something now. Just keep flying through these. It's not until we get to the second half of Yellowing where the really crazy tricks start happening. But there's a pretty cool trick here. If we line up the safe just right, we can avoid the lasers over the scale and weigh it down. So let's see. There we go. There's actually, if you look at the loading times or if I ever die, there's death messages as well that refer to speedrunning in one way or another. Unfortunately, the leaderboards of this game were set up pretty poorly to compete with, so we kind of set up our own. I believe they're still on the Steam forums if anyone's interested in checking them out.
I'm convinced of your aptitude to handle this situation. Oh, well, that was a pleasant surprise.
All right, there's one more collectible, but hopefully I can drop the safe on the scale as well. No, that's not going to be good.
How to get over there?
There's a fan right there that blows it away. Yeah, anything in fluffy dimension will be flown away from a fan. So generally, don't want that to happen. So this set of books is actually pretty heavy. It's going to weigh down 4 scales for us at once. First, we need to get over there. So I mentioned some really weird collision that you can just stand on and jump across. Just going to throw that up there, make it easier. The last jump is actually pretty tricky because you don't have a whole lot of room to stand on. There we go. All right. And for some reason that opens the door. I don't think any of us really know why, but it does. So there you go. And this is probably the worst room to do in all collectibles. Even in any percent, it's pretty bad, but any little mistake will cost a ton of time, and it's very easy to make a mistake if you're not careful. So like that, that's not good. Yeah, I'm just going to restart level. It's faster to restart the level than it is to just wait for the next cycle.
I made the first prototype when I was your age.
So what I'm trying to do is get on the laser device so I can block it and keep the safes intact. All right. Windows does not like something. All right, so we're gonna actually let it destroy those 3, and then we want to keep everything else intact. So just move back and forth very gently. You can do this without slow-mo, but it's very, very difficult. So I'm just going to play it safe. There you go.
It's like having your own personal zoo. Children like things, right?
It's the double USB keyboard.
All right, that wasn't too bad. So I mentioned before you can't object hover with small boxes, which makes this area very, very annoying.
Or just turn up system sounds. If it's bothering you.
Just going to jump up here with the small box. If we go in the heavy dimension, we can actually slide off the box, and if we keep doing that, we get enough forward momentum to just make the gap. All right. Boost to confidence is pretty short level. It's just a lot of object hovering. Yeah, so I was trying to make it so I'd never touch the ground, but unfortunately I hit my head, so I had to fall down and grab that. All right, so Manhattan Transfer uses what I mentioned before about preserving momentum, but we need to get that for the checkpoint, which makes it a little easier to do this. We have to go over to activate the room anyways, but putting Dolly or Desmond on the button gives us a checkpoint. So we get on this couch, and its flight pattern is actually pretty handy that we can just do that. So. Let's turn this off. All right, there we go.
Much better.
I can actually hear myself think.
I kind of miss it.
There's not a whole lot going on in this room other than me dying, but
Death warping.
yeah. It's a lot of intended strats in the beginning, just done really quickly.
We have a donation from NNU Fergs. Here's $50 for John Delancey's wonderful narration. Also, we saved the animals during AGDQ 6 months ago, so our conscience is clear. Save the frames, kill the animals.
All right, here's my collectible. We're just going to object hover to the end. That was kind of a break in the late yellow stages here. Pretty easy stage, and then we go into another terrible, terrible stage, which is horse. This one has a really annoying throw coming up in the next section. So we can use a box twice before it'll go away. Because even the going away animation is in slow-mo, so it's pretty useful.
Try saying that 3 times fast.
There's a trick you can do here where you put 2 in the same one, but it's really finicky, and it hasn't been working for me lately, so we're just gonna go for the throw. I think that went over. Yeah. If you don't hear the noise and get the checkpoint, it went over. This is definitely a terrible room. Okay, that should be it. Yeah.
We have a $200 donation from MG244. Hey all, this is the first time I've managed to catch STGQ live and I'm having a blast. Thanks to everyone for the hard work and amazing runs. Keep it up. Quack, quack, quack.
Yeah, if you are prone to seizures, this game is not for you, because you can just spam different dimensions and change color repeatedly.
It's a seizure warning, I think.
Yeah, there's a pretty serious seizure warning. when you load up the game. It stays on screen for like 20 seconds. So we're just going to use the trick we did before of just barely putting this on the edge and weighing it down. All right, so we got 2 more rooms in the yellow wing, and they're both pretty tricky. The next one, people, I think everyone but myself uses slow-mo for this room, but if you know the timing, you don't really need slow-mo, but we're going to take the battery with us anyways, because I like to throw it away.
You're going to want to retrieve another battery first.
So if you jump at just the right time, you can get up on top of these dollies.
Wow.
With slow-mo, you have a bigger window, but yeah.
That's slow.
Why waste some frames? All right, Land and Misfit Dollies is it's a really cool room. It's also really difficult to pull off without making a mistake. So let's see. We're going to keep our momentum for pretty much the first couple puzzles.
This probably isn't the safest place you've been this week.
Oh.
Backup strats.
Oh,
Yeah, it's very rare that you actually get onto those cushions, so not used to getting that. Typically, you'll either make it all the way over, or you'll just fall down to your death.
This probably isn't the safest place you've been this week.
There we go.
Nice.
I'll let the first one go by because it's a little tricky to jump on. The next few is pretty easy. So you can just fly across. If you jump on that safe, you can just walk down this hallway faster. Small time savers. I'm going to try to do the risky strats here with the object hovering. I'm going to try to keep the safe in the air while I press these
man.
buttons.
Oh, wow.
what?
There we go.
What? That was good.
Yeah, I should have died there.
Changing directions while object flying is really hard, so that's pretty impressive.
And aiming at buttons
Yeah.
when you're within the right distance, which you actually have to be
There's
pretty
also
close.
no texture there for some reason. So if you die just when you're going into the loading screen, you get both screens at once. Hitting spacebar doesn't do anything. It's just a graphical thing. It's fun to go for, but if you die too soon, you actually have to reload and then wait for it to finish, which is something you don't want to do.
That was sufficient. Enough.
So that's the difficult part of the run out of the way.
Is almost complete.
Yeah, so we just have to go through the right wing and then into the final section.
In a state resembling a train wreck. How about you make it upstairs?
Red Wing has a lot of long levels that you just don't want to mess up.
Perhaps you might come across some clues to help me piece
And then some really short levels that are pretty cool. So we get anti-gravity here, which is exactly what it sounds like. It makes everything go upside down.
As you can see, the gravitational pull in this dimension is directly in opposition to our customary. Do you suppose that the gravitational bodies that
So we're going to grab Desmond, which is going to stop the timer from running so we can jump up these platforms right away. And then we're just going to drop them and restart the timer.
you've certainly gotten rather adroit. I believe that opened the hatch over there.
So even though these hallways are short and it looks like you could get there before
There should be another
it
drinking
reloads,
periodically.
the doors actually take quite a while to load up the next room, so it's actually faster just to quit out. I think there's only one level where it might be about the same. That's going to close. Oh, there.
So majestic.
We have a $7 donation from Sideshot. So you flip a switch and there's safes flying everywhere. And also, apparently, some donations. Put mine to the Halo 3 Legendary run.
Yeah, the end credit song is called Flip a Switch, and if you've ever heard it, it is probably the best end credit song that's ever been made. So I'm going to try to get an early cycle door here. If you grab this box, depending on where the box is, sometimes you can put it on the safe before the heavy kicks in. It's pretty tricky to do, but it's about 50-50 in an actual run.
Oh, in case you don't see, there's an electrical converter on the ceiling that needs to...
There's a really quick way to do this level that is actually under 6 seconds. It's really, really tricky to go for, and the only person to ever get sub 6 is Monzo, who's an absolute beast at IL attempts.
And IL stands for individual level.
Right. It's just playing the one stage over and over.
It's a lot easier to grind out one level at a time to get a really good time instead of doing an entire run of the whole game.
Yeah, and the last level I did, I believe is the shortest level for IL in the game. It's about 3 seconds. It's really crazy.
Oh, nice!
All right.
Ike's a sneaky
So something we haven't really seen, which you do more of in any percent, is clipping items through walls. If you hold an item against a wall and switch in between dimensions, you just literally clip the item through it. So you can skip that puzzle, or do some slow strats.
Good going on reverse engineering that.
You can also use that to clip items out of bounds.
Oh, yes.
So you can clip it out of bounds, go out of bounds, and then object hover for the most part to the exit. So there I've used the fact that if you go into anti-gravity and hit your head, you can control where the item's going to fly away from you at. And if you just position it right, you can fly through the exit. That's about the only reason anti-gravity is broken, is just using it to put items where you want them. So this is a really, really scary jump. This ledge looks bigger than it actually is, and it's really easy to fall off if you're not careful. Okay.
Nice.
Like sometimes it can be really hard to know when something's impressive when like a speedrun is done like this, but if he says it's hard to do, if a little bit, then it's really hard to do.
Yeah. All right.
It's a lot easier with the floating.
Yeah. Using object hovering is a lot nicer, but anti-gravity is good for some stuff. So there I used object hovering instead of walking just because if you do it properly, it's faster. This is why I always want to see like a potential task of this game, because it would just object hover just through the entire map in a blink of an eye.
Just a segmented run would be pretty impressive as well.
Yeah, at this point you could just take all the ILs and combine them for a segmented run, which would be crazy enough. Some of these rooms have strats that are they're ridiculously hard to get. You can try it 1,000 times and only get it like once.
Including his own toes, like a hot knife through butter.
All right, so we just need to keep the conveyor belt from touching the safe in this first part, which I didn't do. It's slightly faster with the initial speed it's set at than the conveyor belt, so saves I think about half a second. Of course it has to hit the conveyor belt here, so this part's all the same.
We have $50 from Hooded Dragon. Shout out to Blood Thunder for earning my favorite games. $50 for Hoverless Super Mario Sunshine.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that's an example of a really long level that's pretty easy. You just don't want to mess it up because it'll cost you 30, 40 seconds. Flipping out is a pretty tricky stage because there's death at every mistake, really.
Heads up.
Yeah, it's a death at every mistake, so.
That didn't cost too much time.
No, a lot of these checkpoints are pretty nice.
It's perturbing this area has rolled as well.
We have an anonymous $100 donation, putting half towards the Chrono Trigger 100% run and the other half towards saving the frames and killing the animals. Such a great event for a great cause. Good luck to all the runners.
And that way, just break the door so it stays open, and then activate the first door so we can just walk through. And saves a couple seconds. And robot transfer is a very infamous stage for us that run the game. Things can just go wrong for absolutely no reason at all. Okay. So I'm actually not going to solve this room. I'm going to go ahead and solve the next room, which, if you do it right, it actually completes the puzzle that it's left behind. So setting up the safe to line up right on this track. Sometimes the safe won't go to the platform, which I had happen pretty recently in a run. Sometimes the robots actually get stuck and they don't move. All right, one more area to go through here. And yeah, you just saw them destroy a safe. Sometimes they'll just do that to your safe as well, which is not fun. All right, I think we got pretty good luck here.
Nice.
We have an anonymous $30 donation. Great job, guys. This event is amazing. Keep it up.
This is a pretty cool room. You just simply fly to the end.
Be safe now. One of the best you're doing
There you go.
quite well. Process.
One of my more favorite nerdy level names. I saw the sign.
Yeah, if you haven't paid attention, all the rooms are references or jokes to something else. Even the soundtrack for the game, each title is a reference to something. And the reference on the cover art is Nirvana's Nevermind.
I suppose you could call that couch surfing. Just remember, you have access to every dimension.
Forehead.
This is another long level you don't want to mess up, so just concentrating so that doesn't happen. Okay. One more section, which if you try to do this fast, it can backfire. So I'm just going to play it safe.
Watch it.
Okay.
That wasn't horrible.
Typically, you would use anti-gravity on the very last fan and just jump off and fly to the end. It's not an easy thing to go for.
Well, what's it going to be?
So this is probably the coolest room in the game from a casual perspective. So the game actually has 4 different solutions depending on what battery you choose first. There we go. But because Fluffy is so broken, by picking it, you skip a ton of this area.
Feel like that sometimes.
So we just need to get slow-mo so we can get past the fan, and then we're just going to break the door. There we go.
Retracing steps. That's what people do, right? Ah,
So there's another example of just using object hover to skip everything.
We have $50 from Raymond Tracer. Hey guys, this is my second $50 I'm donating. I donated about an hour after the marathon started, but I'm not sure if it went through, so have an extra 50 just in case. Hope you all have lots of fun and a great time. Money is split between the runners and the readers' choices.
So this level has a pretty cool trick. It skips the entire level, but we have to get a really good safe here, which can take a few tries. That actually looks pretty good.
Oh, nice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that hit kind of slowed it down, but it still has enough momentum to get across. So I mentioned IL attempts that can take 1,000 tries to get it once. This is one of them. And you just stay in that first room, and you get the safe to come over here and land on the pad all by itself. Normally I'd grab Fluffy, but I'm going to try to do a trick that I probably shouldn't go for. There we go.
Oh.
There we go. Yeah, so letting the objects hit you on the face, you can bounce it in certain directions, but it's very easy to have the safe go flying too far, and then you have to go get Fluffy anyways, so that actually worked out pretty okay. So we just have essentially 2 rooms left, which is the end of the game.
That should have done it.
There's actually a not really recently discovered trick, but they found a more consistent way of doing it. Of course, it happened just like a day or 2 before I left for SGQ, so I haven't had time to practice it. I will go for it, because I can, but I probably won't get it, unfortunately. So this is one of the collectibles we got earlier. Just throw them over there. All right. Whew. So that jump right there saves 15 seconds, and it's really tricky. It involves strafe jumping. Do some back hopping.
I say BH.
So this room was designed pretty well, except for the fact that it essentially gives us object hovering throughout the entire thing. It starts you off with all your dimensions, and then it slowly takes them away one by one in the reverse order you got them. So we're going to lose anti-gravity here. And next we're going to lose slow-mo and then heavy. So essentially we keep Fluffy throughout the whole thing, which is, as you can tell, extremely broken. All right, get the collectible. And even here we can reload, which is slightly faster. So the strat I was talking about is we're going to try to grab an item while in Fluffy, and then we're going to try to clip into it. Can't grab one. Yeah. So basically you want to clip yourself into the object, and then as you enter slow-mo, it shortens this fall, which is completely RNG, and it's really, really annoying. If you touch a laser, you die, and you have to restart the fall. So it's really nice that we found a way to skip this, at least partially. All right, just fall down. So we're at the final chamber of the game, but there's still a few tricks to do. So what I'm doing right now is spawning Ike behind me, who's going to give us a battery. He will always spawn behind you, and that's the closest one to grab. So the game counts how many batteries you put into the machine, not how many are currently in the machine. So just putting the same one in multiple times works, and it also spawns in multiple Ikes. It's quite the conundrum. All right, so we're going to pull out the battery, get our powers back, and then simply do that. That's time.
49:32.
It's not bad.
Oh wait, is that 48 or?
So I'm going to let the credit part play out just a little bit so you get a taste of it. But if you want to hear the whole thing, you have to go buy the game yourself because more people need to play it. more people are picking this game up as a run, and I'm putting out tutorials very slowly. So you can check those out on my YouTube or go to my site, btspeedruns.com/tutorials for at least one of them at the moment. Yeah, well, let's play that real quick.
This is going to be interesting.
Then I flip a switch and fluffy is everything. Plush and sweet and soft and pink. I flip a switch and heavy is everywhere. Crash to the ground from out of the air. I flip a switch.
And then one last thing we have to do is do a thing. All right, we got yellow eyes. That's good. Right. There you go. There's Quantum Conundrum. Hope you guys enjoyed.
The start and the end of the PC
All right, great